Travis went good, so I'm surprised it's not even noon. I thought for sure it was late in the afternoon. Anyway, one of my subscribers, Frederick, brought it to my attention that Netflix is doing a documentary series on Mark Hoffman. And Mark Hoffman was Mormon, obviously. But I was down in Southern California as a teenager during the 80s. And I'm surprised my born-again Christian friend, peers, I guess they were friends, sort of. Yeah, well, anyway. They would only bring up the God makers. And I'm just like, yeah. Yeah. The thing with Christians is that they think if anybody doesn't think like a Christian, it's therefore blasphemous and offensive. Unaware that there were religions prior to them, of which they copied from, and then banned those origin religions, specifically Egyptian, source of all religion. And so I never read the actual Salamander letter. I have found on the internet, it's in the public domain, with Mark Hoffman doing a photo op with some of the prophets of the church, examining the Salamander letter. And he had obtained for either the Salamander letter or for some other stuff that he was forging for them. One of which was the Anton transcript, but the Anton transcript has already been known what the characters are on it, so it was only a matter of claiming that it was the original, not the other copies of it later on. But as I've been informed, people were starting to catch on to him. Those suspicious Mormons, why can't they just let him be? And if you're unaware, there was a wife who went missing here in Utah, in West Valley even. The husband was the prime suspect, but they couldn't find the body, they couldn't find any evidence linking to him having murdered her. And so he got chased out of Utah to Oregon, where his dad lived, and they still kept harassing him and pestering him and bugging him to the point where he committed suicide with his sons in the home when the caseworker brought him over for him to visit. As when the caseworker went back to her car to get something, he locked the doors and blew up the house. His father would not narc on his son, whether he knew anything or not, but they got him for child porn. Apparently had a camera in his bathroom as neighborhood kids would come over to use the pool. He's since gotten out. He's served his time, and so now he's free to roam in society, right? Nah, no. Sexual predator watch list or whatever it's called for the rest of his life. And so there is that tendency in Mormonism to make Mormons do bad things when they just accuse you of something falsely. That cancel culture has been in Utah longer than cancel culture began in the United States. In Utah, it's called the shun, or shunning. But Mark Hoffman, from what I understand, Mormon, went on a mission, but learned to forge documents. And I guess decided he would try his skill to see how good he was by presenting the church with the Salamander letter. And when they were catching on to him, he decided to cover up his sins. Amen to your priesthood. And build pipe bombs, one of which I think blew up the wife of a bishop who was on to him. She got the package instead of him. And then another one blew up in his car, and so he got caught and is still serving prison to this day. He will never get out. So, I thought, well, I'd like to know what the Salamander letter says. Wouldn't you? Alright. If you don't, I guess goodbye. But here's the text of the document from the Los Angeles Times archive, dated March 29th, 1987, 12 a.m. Pacific time. And it's by Martin Harris. The date, October 23rd, 1830. That's interesting. And it's in Palmyra. And he says, "Dear Sir." Is that how he did things? "Dear Sir," rather than "Dear Joseph." Let's see. He says, "Your letter of yesterday is received, and I hasten to answer as fully as I can. Joseph Smith Jr. first came to my note." Oh, okay, so he's talking about Joseph Smith. He first came to my notice in the year 1824. In the summer of that year, I contracted with his father to build a fence on my property. In the course of that work, I approach Joseph and ask how it is in a half day you put up what requires your father and two brothers a full day working together, he says. I have not been without assistance, but cannot say more, only you better find out. The next day, I take the older Smith by the arm, and he says Joseph can see anything he wishes by looking at a stone. There are no periods. It's worse than me. Yeah, apparently Mark Hoffman had gotten a hold of some other letters of Martin Harris to get certain words spelled incorrectly. That's interesting. That's what you have to do if you're going to be a good forger, by the way. Joseph often sees spirits here with greater kettles of coin money. It was spirits who brought up rock because Joseph made no attempt on their money. I later dream I converse with spirits, which let me count their money. When I wake, I have in my hand a dollar coin, which I take for a sign. Joseph describes what I seen in every particular way, says, the spirits are grieved, so I threw back the dollar. In the fall of the year 1827, I heard Joseph found a gold Bible. I take Joseph aside, and he says, it is true. I found it 4 years ago with my stone. See, this is where the one stone comes from. Naughty, naughty. Martin Harris knew there were two, but only just got it because of the enchantment. The old spirit came to me 3 times in the same dream and says, dig up the gold. But when I take it up the next morning, the spirit transfigured himself from a white salamander in the bottom of the hole and struck me 3 times, and I held the treasure and would not let me have it because I lay it down to cover over the hole. When the Spirit says, do not lay it down, Joseph says, when can I have it? The Spirit says, 1 year from today, if you obey me. Look to the stone after a few days. He looks, the Spirit says, bring your brother Alvin. Alvin's dead in 23. Dude, you messed up. The prophets fell for this? My hell. Alvin, Joseph says he is dead. Oh, okay. Shall I bring what remains? But the Spirit is gone. Joseph goes to get the gold Bible, but the Spirit says, you did not bring your brother. You cannot have it. Look to the stone. Joseph looks, but cannot see who to bring. The Spirit says, I tricked you again. Look to the stone. Joseph looks and sees his wife on the 22nd day of September, 1827. They get the gold Bible. I give Joseph $50 to move him down to Pennsylvania, PA. Joseph says, when you visit me, I will give you a sign. He gives me some hieroglyphics. I take them to Utica, Albany, and New York. In the last place, Dr. Mitchell gives me a introduction to Professor Anton. He says they are shorthand Egyptian, the same what was used in ancient times. Bring me the old book and I will translate. Says I, it is made of precious gold and is sealed from view. Says he, I cannot read a sealed book. Joseph found some giant silver spectacles with the plates. He puts them in an old hat and in the darkness reads the words, and in this way it is all translated and written down. About the middle of June 1829, Joseph takes me together with Oliver Cowdery and David Whitmer to have a view of the plates. Our names are appended to the Book of Mormon, which I had printed with my own money. Space and time both prevent me from writing more at present. If there is anything further you wish to inquire, I shall attend to it. Yours respectfully, Martin Harris. Oh, man. This is what happens when you do bad things, guys. You get punked by another bad dude from within your own religion. Why won't the church reveal church history? I have no idea. Why are they keeping it all a secret? We don't know what's frauds and what's real anymore. But yeah, in 1993, the September 6th at BYU got fired and excommunicated because they were starting to make discoveries about church history that was making the church very uncomfortable. And then I come along in 1998 and present the church with my decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew, of which the church freaks out. Freak out. And yeah, all hell breaks loose. How dare Joseph Smith be an actual translator? It's all a fraud, right? I should also mention Dallin H. Oakes is a direct descendant of Martin Harris. He's not shown in the picture, but yeah, I'm sure he's disappointed that it wasn't an actual document by his ancestor.